Knights in armor, dragons, a stunning procedurally generated environment, a fantasy setting with a dark and mysterious atmosphere, all released for the grand price of free to play. What more could we want? Well, how about a release? Yep, if you actually want to play a game, a release is pretty important. Hello everybody, I'm Roy McCoy and the focus of this video is on the project known as Capcom's Deep Down, which should possibly be affectionately referred to as Deep Down in Development Hell. And this video will go a little something like this. First of all, we'll talk about what is Deep Down, before moving on to the development history of the project, and all the way up to the current day, where are we now? And asking those all-important questions, where is Deep Down? Seriously, where the hell is Deep Down? This game looks amazing. Why am I not able to play this? Hell, free to play? I'd even pay for this, it looks that good. And don't forget to follow me on, as my father would call it, the Twitter. Seriously, he calls it that. And Twitch. You can find me on both of those with @RealRoyMcCoy. And don't worry, the links are in the description below the video. And also, please like this video, as it really can help me out, and it helps the video to do really well. But after those shameless plugs, let's crack on with everything we know about Deep Down. Well, I referred to it in the introduction as the project known as Deep Down. And that's because, as of at the moment, that is its working title, with no official name given to the game. So from here on in, we'll just call it Deep Down. This is Capcom's dungeon crawler and will feature single player and up to 4-player co-op multiplayer. The game itself will take place in a medieval fantasy setting with procedurally generated dungeons, with the player using swords, shields, armor to go up against monsters including dragons and ogres. However, the story itself won't start in the 15th century, but rather in the future, as the game takes place in the year 2094 in New York City. And players will be transported back in time by touching magical artifacts. So think a little bit Assassin's Creed there in that kind of way. However, the story itself will have more in common with something like Dragon's Dogma, one of Capcom's other franchises, than it will with Assassin's Creed. The combat itself will be slow-paced and tactical, so think Dark Souls. And all this game, which sounds like a lot of game, will be released on a free-to-play basis, and was originally being designed using a new engine called the Panta-Ray engine for the PlayStation 4, which, considering that we're in the years of the PlayStation 5, might help you to realise that this game is a little bit in development hell. So that is the project of Deep Down in a nutshell. And if you're anything like me, a dungeon crawler made by Capcom with Dark Souls style combat, a mystical setting, and a single player and a 4-player co-op multiplayer, all for the brilliant price of nothing, sounds like an absolute winner to me. So, what happened to it? Well, let's talk about the development history of Deep Down. The game was first announced to the world in 2013, nearly 8 years ago, at the PlayStation meeting, where Sony introduced the world to PlayStation 4. Yes! It really is that old, this game. And the release came alongside other such games as Watch Dogs, Killzone Shadowfall, which is ironic because I recently covered that in a What Happened To series, because that series seems to have taken a bow out, and another one that seems to have taken a bow out that I covered, Infamous Second Son. Links in the description, guys. The lead producer behind it was none other than Yoshinori Ono, who is probably better known for his work on Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, and his work as co-producer on Dead Rising, which is another game franchise that I covered recently. Seriously, all my videos seem to lead to Deep Down. Deep Down was announced alongside the Panta-Ray game engine, which was being designed by Capcom for the new generation of PlayStation 4. And the story of the Panta-Ray game engine is possibly the reason that we haven't seen Deep Down. Now, the Panta-Ray engine was designed to replace the MT framework, which was, before PlayStation 4, Capcom's game engine of choice, and was used to make games like Resident Evil 5, 6-ish, Devil May Cry 4, and right up to Monster Hunter World. So we can see that, considering that the idea behind Panta-Ray was to be the exclusive PlayStation 4 game engine, and Capcom all the way through the generation was still using MT framework, we can pretty much surmise that something went wrong with the Panta-Ray engine. And it wasn't till later in the year at the Tokyo Game Show that Ono announced that it was going to be a free-to-play title, and he expected a release in 2014. However, considering we're in the year 2021 and I'm still banging on about this game, I think it's pretty safe to say, Well, that hasn't happened. And since 2013, pretty much, details have been quite sketchy. But possibly the events surrounding the Panta Rhei game engine are a little bit more telling about where this project's at. However, let's talk about that game first. So, in 2015, another producer on the project, Kazunori Sugiura, stated that the development cycle was going to be extended as the project had become much bigger since the initial 2013 reveal, which doesn't really sound like a bad thing. And then, pretty much, it went quiet. And over time, people kind of forgot about it. And even now, when you talk about Deep Down, a game that made such an impact in 2013, a lot of gamers out there are just like, what was that? However, in June 2018, Capcom once again extended the trademark for the game, highlighting that this wasn't over. And as late as 2019, in an interview with Eurogamer, in which Ono was talking about Street Fighter V, he mentioned that Deep Down hadn't been completely abandoned, but there was a final twist in the tale, and that was in 2020. Ono said goodbye to Capcom, and seemingly the project was over. Or was it? There is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but let's track back before we talk about that and talk about the Panta Rhei engine. So, as I mentioned, the Panta Rhei engine was designed specifically for the PlayStation 4, but while nothing official has ever been confirmed, several sources report there were problems with the game engine. However, one good thing did apparently come from the game engine, and that is the RE engine. Yes, that's right, from the possible ashes of the Panta Rhei, if it is indeed dead, rumours have it that the RE engine was spawned. And of course that RE engine was designed for Resident Evil 7. Now, you may be forgiven for thinking that RE in the RE engine stands for Resident Evil engine. I thought it did, but apparently it's just the first two letters of Reach for the Moon. That's right, the RE engine is called the Reach for the Moon engine. You possibly already knew that. That surprised the hell out of me when I found that out. And of course, as the generation moves on and we move into the PlayStation 5, the RE engine is becoming the dominant Capcom engine, with no mentions of the Panta Rhei. And now games like the new Monster Hunter is being developed with the RE engine. So that's kind of where we're at the moment with this game. A troubled engine that was seemingly maybe abandoned, that was used to develop a game that wasn't really spoken about and has seemingly disappeared off the map. However, as I mentioned before, there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. The first of which is a report from PlayStationLifestyle.net that Deep Down was reportedly in a near complete state before Capcom shelved it. Now, the words shelved it isn't overly positive, but the fact that it was in a near complete state means that a lot of work has been put into this game. And while Ono said in his 2019 interview that the team working on the project is much different to the original team, it does sound like they got the game pretty close to release. But the reasons as to why Capcom have shelved it is as yet unknown, and it is unlikely just because Ono left the project. And one final piece of news is, remember that trademark was renewed in 2018? Well, it also got renewed on June the 19th, 2020. So, Capcom, only a few months ago, once again renewed the trademark, and that is where we're at the moment. So, could we ever see this game? And if so, when? Well, this one's a bit of a tricky one. Apparently the game was shelved, with some people saying that it was cancelled in a near complete and near finished state. With the lead producer Ono leaving the project, the future would sound a little bit bleak for it, but considering that Capcom once more renewed the trademark for this game does imply that it could still come out at some point. And if I'm going to speculate, here is what I believe. I think the problems with this game come from the Panta Rhei engine. And if the rumours have it that the Panta Rhei engine did have a lot of problems, that would have meant problems for Deep Down. However, considering that it spawned the new flagship engine, the RE engine, it is quite possible that Capcom wants to take the potential of the near-finished game and tweak it a little bit using the RE engine. And that's not forgetting to mention that the RE engine is still in development. There's still things being added to it. It's still improving and getting better. So why not take a game like Deep Down to work together to improve the new engine? So, long story short, yes, I think this game is still absolutely possible, but I'm not so sure we'll be seeing it anytime soon. If you head over to Yoshinoro Ono's Wikipedia page, you'll see that the title of Deep Down is followed by the word cancelled. However, I'm not so sure. I do believe that one day we could see this game, quite possibly in the year 2022. Whether indeed it is still a free-to-play title, or they develop it into something different, we will have to wait and see. But I imagine something like this would fit perfectly into Capcom's game catalogue, and I personally would love to see it. So come on Capcom, let's make this happen. Let's make it come in 2022. Let me know in the comments below what your predictions are for Deep Down. When do you think we'll see it? Are you positive or deep down in your gut? Oh, sorry, I had to. Do you think that we will never see this game? Let me know in the comments below. Let's have a chat about it. And also, don't forget to let me know any other games you would like me to cover in my series. But from me today, any other games that you would like me to cover. But from me today, this is Roy McCoy, out!